In this episode of Recipe of the Week, we are now featuring taco soup. So let's get into the recipe. Okay guys, so I'm just gathering up some of my stuff that I'm going to be putting in this recipe. Here I have 2 cans of Hatch diced green chilies, and that's going to go into the soup, both cans. Sweet corn, 1 can of sweet corn, 1 can of kidney beans, 1 can of black beans, 1 can of pinto beans, and we're going to need some ground cumin, so I've got that out. And we need some diced tomatoes. I also need some crushed tomatoes, but one of these are going to be crushed. Some Taco Bell taco seasoning and some Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning, and 1 yellow onion, and 2 pounds of ground beef. So let's get started on this recipe. Okay, so here I have my medium yellow onion. I'm going to go ahead and take the outer skin off, and then we'll get to dicing it up and putting it with our recipe. Okay, we're just about done with this onion, so I'm going to put it out of my way and get started on my ground beef. Okay guys, let's go ahead and start breaking up this ground meat and getting it into the pot, and we're going to start searing it up. I want to add too that if you want to cut the fat, you can also use ground turkey, or you can use half and half of lean beef or lean turkey together. Okay, our ground beef is ready to cook, so we're going to put it on a medium-high heat. I want to remind you, if you want to enter Recipe of the Week, all you have to do is email me at haveaseat@nickistable@gmail.com. Send me your recipe, and I will feature it on the next episode of Recipe of the Week. Okay, so let's get started cooking this meat, and I'm going to grab my spoon, and I'm going to start chopping up the meat just to make sure everything is separated and ready to cook. Okay guys, I have cooked, drained, and washed my ground beef, and back into the pot it goes. This is a very easy recipe. It's a 1-pot recipe. Now you're just going to throw stuff together. So we're going to measure out 1 tablespoon of minced garlic and put that in with the meat. Okay, so now that I've got my garlic down into the meat, I'm going to go ahead and grab my yellow onion that I chopped, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this in with the ground beef and the minced garlic. And we're going to saute this for about 2 to 3 minutes until it starts to become translucent. And then we're going to throw in the rest of the ingredients. Now the one seasoning that I didn't have out was my chili powder. You do need a little bit of chili powder with this recipe to go with the ground cumin. But you will see everything that I put in the pot here in just a minute. And I will have everything listed in the description box below. Okay, so now that our onion has cooked with the meat for a few minutes, we're going to add onion powder, and I'm just going to put 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Okay, next up, we're going to grab our garlic powder and measure out 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, next up, we're going to grab our Taco Bell taco seasoning. I love this seasoning. And we're going to put the entire packet in with the ground beef and the other seasonings. Okay, so next we're going to grab our packet of Hidden Valley Ranch and we're going to add that as well. Okay, now we're going to measure out 1 teaspoon of ground cumin and put that in. I want to also add that I added no extra salt to this recipe because everything that I put in here was salty enough. So you don't have to add any more salt to this recipe. Okay, and with our Hatch diced green chilies, both cans are going to go into the pot. We're going to give it a mix. Okay, next up is our can of sweet corn, and the entire can will go in with the juice into the pot. Okay, 1 can of diced tomatoes going in. Okay, 1 can of kidney beans going in. Next, a whole can of pinto beans. Okay, and we're going to add 1 less can of black beans. Okay, we're going to go in and make sure we give that a good mix. And right now, as you mix it, you're going to think it's too thick, there's not enough juice, but trust me, it will have plenty of juice once it starts cooking. Okay, so our very last seasoning that we need to put in here is our chili powder. So I'm going to say I put about, roughly about 3 tablespoons of chili powder. I didn't measure it out here, I just put it in. I'm so used to just throwing things together, but I would put about 3 tablespoons of chili powder, taste it, and if it needs a little more, put a little more. Okay, we're just going to give this a good stir and get it well incorporated with each other. I needed a can of crushed tomatoes and I didn't have it. So what I did was I blended a can of diced tomatoes and voila, I come up with crushed tomatoes. So I'm going to pour this entire contents into the pot. Now we're going to give it a good stir and blend everything together. And with the tomato and all of the vegetables, it had just enough liquid in the pot with everything. So normally, you would drain your beans or give them a rinse. You don't have to do that with this. You just put everything in there with their juices and it comes out perfect. So just give it a little taste. If it doesn't need anything, we're going to put the lid on and let it cook for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay guys, so I had a last minute request right before the taco soup got done. My husband wanted some cheese dip, so here I got a can of Rotel. I just put it right into the bowl, and I put a little bit of chicken broth in with my queso. So I'm going to make my own chicken broth because I don't have a can of just regular broth. So I put a teaspoon of the Knorr chicken bouillon into some water, and I'm going to just pour just a little bit into the bowl with the rotel. Just a little bit, not too much, because bouillon is salty. So I just poured just a little bit, just to have a little bit of a chicken flavor. And then we're going to start dicing up our cheese. So let me go ahead and grab my cheese, and we're going to start dicing that up and putting it into the bowl. So there's my cheese. I use the H-E-B Easy Melt cheese. Velveeta is entirely too salty for me for some reason. I don't know if y'all think that, but Velveeta cheese is so salty. So the Easy Melt cheese is a good brand to go to if you don't want Velveeta. So I'm just going to go ahead and dice this up into cubes and throw it into the bowl. Since this was a last minute request, I didn't have other cheeses to go with it. Now you can totally put other cheeses with this, like cheddar cheese or pepper jack cheese, Colby cheese, any cheese that you prefer. You can just throw it in there with this Easy Melt cheese or your Velveeta if you prefer, and melt it and make you a nice flavorful cheese dip. Okay, now that we've got all of our cheese in the bowl, I'm going to go ahead and grab me a spoon, and I'm going to stir this up together and get the cheese all well incorporated in with the rotel and the chicken broth. And then we're going to microwave this on high for about 5 to 6 minutes, or until the cheese is well melted. Okay guys, here's our cheese dip. It's all nice, ready, and hot. There was some cheese down at the bottom that didn't melt, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. It's not too thin and not too thick. It's just the way we like it. And we are ready to eat. We're going to go ahead and check on our soup and see how our soup is doing, and it should be ready. So let's go ahead and put this out of the way and check on our soup. Okay, let's lift this lid and look at our soup. And it has the perfect amount of broth from the cans of beans, corn, and tomato. And we are ready to eat. It is done. But before we do, hit that subscribe button, you guys. Hit the subscribe button, the bell icon to be notified for more future posts, and the like video. So let's go ahead and get our bowl and serve us up a good helping of this taco soup. Okay guys, everybody is hungry and this smells delicious, so we're going to go ahead and grab our bowl and start serving it up. I want to tell you too, you can garnish this taco soup with some sour cream, some cheese, corn chips, some cilantro, some jalapeno. Anything you like in the soup would go really, really well with it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I dress up my taco soup when I'm ready to eat it. Okay, so here is my bowl of taco soup, and I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of sour cream. You never can go wrong with sour cream and taco soup. Then I'm going to be adding a little bit of Colby Jack cheese right on top of that sour cream. And then I'm going to grab me a little handful of these green onions and top it with that. I thank you so much for watching, you guys. Like, subscribe, share it out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.